All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. How can it be possible that January is gone already? My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of Notary Business Builder, the Advanced Notary Mastermind, as well as author of the best-selling book, Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. I'm here today with my incredible co-host who is also teaching right now, so she'll be on in about 4 minutes, Laura Biewer, and I'll give her a chance to introduce herself as well in just a few moments. Guys, TNT is a call for you to get your questions answered by experts throughout the field. The best way to make this work for everyone is to use the raise hand feature. Thank you to those who have already raised their hand. And then when we call on you to tell us what state you're in, and then directly ask your question, and then you can mute yourself out and await the response. Or if Laura and I need to dig a little deeper, we'll ask some probing questions on that. All right, so Laura will be here in just a couple minutes. In fact, she might already be here. No, not yet. So we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. Gia, thanks for being here. Want to unmute? How can we help today?
Thank you for having me. Thank you for Bill and Laura for doing this on another Tuesday. Happy January end. I'll go right into the question. I am in California. This was for a Texas sale. So I don't know if this is a Laura question, but I'll go ahead and ask the question. On a general warranty deed, in order for me as a California notary to notarize the general warranty deed, do all of the blank spaces need to be filled in, including the buyer's address, in order for me to notarize the document?
Yeah, great question. So I know as a best practice, we definitely want to make sure that as much of the information as possible is included, especially anything that would be considered critical information. Now on deeds, sometimes the county has their own little section where they fill in information, and that would be exempted from that. But I'm going to invite, since Laura's not here yet, I would invite Matt Miller. Matt, are you available? Do you want to jump in and just add your perspective to this?
Sure. I just would like Gia to repeat the question, please.
Yeah.
This was, I'm in California. It's a Texas sale. The buyer's information, the address was not completed. And so I suggested to the title how they wanted me to handle that. Did they want me to strike a line, have the signer strike a line above that address? Put some, so they can put something there so that I can notarize it, because I have been told by the NNA in California, spaces cannot be left blank in order for you to notarize a document. So
that's right. Yeah, you shouldn't notarize document with blank spaces, even if it's as simple as having them put NA for non-applicable, but you can't make that decision. So I think you did the right thing in reaching out to your hiring party to find out how to proceed on that.
okay, so my question is, this woman gave me so much pushback on it, this woman being the title officer, right? And so she finally said, well, have them just have them put a line through there, not, a line on the top of where it's blank. So I just want to know how I should handle that. And Bill, in general, how do I handle when California does things a certain way, like what I just talked about, and then you're getting pushback from title or the escrow officer? Because like you said, sir, I forgot, what's your name again? The person who just gave me the information.
That was Matt Miller.
Matt Miller. Matt, when she gave me pushback on that, after I sought directions from her, but notary in California, we do things where it has to be filled in, something has to be there. How would you and Bill suggest me handling that?
Typically, what I've done in the past when I get pushback on policy or statute is I actually cite to them the handbook or the actual government code that explains what our procedure is. And that usually takes care of it. So always, keep your handbook handy, because it can be your best friend in situations like this.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. And I
Thank
do
you.
the exact same thing. So Gia, just so you know, like with my signing company, we run into this a lot because there's so many there's so many times where we hear, well, all the other notaries do it. You guys just do it. And when you are trying to stand in integrity, it's a delicate balance, but integrity has to win every time. That's why we exist in the first place, right? So just like Matt said, I'll look up the code. I've messaged Matt, I've messaged Laura, I've called the NNA hotline. I'm like, I know this is what it is, but I can't find the statute. So I'll track down the statute or in the handbook and show them exactly what we're trying to adhere to. And like Matt said, that usually stops it. And then sometimes people will argue back and forth. I always recommend staying professional. Don't take it personal, because they really are. They are in a world where they're just used to notaries just doing it, because a lot of notaries don't know what they can do and what they can't do. So they just do what they're told. So when they face a notary that knows their bounds of integrity, knows what they can't do, that can shock them a little bit. So I like to stay professional, keep it just, I like to tell them, I'm not trying to be obstinate here. I'm not trying to be like, get in the way of this. I can't do this, but I could do this. So I always try to find a solution if there's one possible. So I hope that was helpful.
Yes, thank you, Bill and Matt. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure. Great question too. And real quick before we move on, I want to bring up Laura Biewer. Hey, Laura. You're probably on mute. There she is.
Okay. Yeah, somebody needed the link and I was trying to hand type in the link to a text so they could get on. I guess the link wasn't working for them. In any case, hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. I'm Laura Biewer. I'm the founder of Coach Me Laura and co-founder of Notary Business Builder. Good to be here today.
Yeah, awesome. Glad you made it, even on a busy teaching day.
Busy teaching day.
All right, second question, Jennifer Schmidt, thank you. What state are you in and how can we help?
Hello, Laura and Matt. Jennifer from California, Monterey Bay Notary Pro. I have a question this morning regarding signature by mark. I do signature by mark frequently in my area, but today I've run into a client who's requesting a signing. She and her mother need their documents notarized. The mother has significant issues with her signature that has changed greatly due to age and infirmity. So I suggested that we do a signature by mark signing. My question is, with witnesses on this particular signing, can the daughter, who's also getting her signature notarized, serve as one of those witnesses, or am I better off getting two independent witnesses for this?
Yeah, great question, Laura. I'm going to pass that right over to you.
You need two impartial witnesses and the daughter is part of this transaction, then I would not use her as a signature by mark. Those witnesses need to be impartial.
Fantastic. That's what I told her, and I just wanted to make sure that was all correct. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for bringing that up, Jennifer. Giovanni, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Yes, hi. I will. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
I'm a California new notary. I got a question about the acceptable initials that signers will do. Is it all capital letters? Is it acceptable to have lowercase letters, or is it in print only or cursive?
Yeah, what a great question, Giovanni. Thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that, and welcome to TNT as well. I found in my experience that as long as all three initials are there, it's typically okay. So if their handwriting is all caps, that's fine. If it's low caps, that's okay. If it's almost like a signature for some people, they use cursive and some do not. So Laura, have you experienced anything different on that?
No, I agree with you, Bill. As long as they're all there, whether they're capitals or lowercase, cursive or printed, doesn't really matter. They just have to be complete.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, we'll have a couple more questions here too. I just want to invite all the new people who have joined us in the last 10 minutes to know that this is an open forum where anybody can ask their question. And the best way to do so is to use the raise hand feature in Zoom, which is usually, as you hover your mouse over my face right now, it'll bring up a little bar at the bottom. If you click reactions, there'll be a button that says raise hand, and that's how you can raise your hand. And we welcome all questions, especially right now, talking about marketing, building relationships, how to pivot your business, how to tap into other specialties within this work. This is a great time to bring up those questions. The questions that don't always work the best in a forum like this are the highly technical document specific questions. So we welcome the highly specific marketing questions, client getting questions, those types of things as well. Laura, do you have any announcements this week? I was trying to think. I don't think I have any.
I don't think I do, not this week.
Yeah, all right.
A lot on my plate, but nothing for them.
Yep, all right. Sounds good. Well, then we'll bring up Sabrina. Thank you for your patience. You want to unmute and tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm in California. I had a question also about the signature by Mark. I had a client that, what was it? So it was a power of attorney. And then I was wondering with the signature by Mark, when there's a part of the document that they have to initial, how would I go about that initialing part? There was like 4 sections for him to initial. I wasn't sure if it would be like an X again or like what to put there to hit sign.
Yeah, great question. Laura, what do you say?
Yeah, they would put their mark there as well.
Laura, do they have to put the language that has to accompany a signature by Mark with the
Not with the initial part. They can just use their marks there, and then you've got the final signature line. This signature line that is the mark process.
Thank you.
Great question, Sabrina. Thank you. Hey, Janelle, in California as well.
Wow,
You're on mute though. Still. Oh, yeah.
everyone's in California today.
There we go. How's that?
All right. Yeah, welcome.
Hi, Janelle from California. My question is, with escrow officers and doing escrow packages, there's usually set fees for each package. And I had an attorney ask me if I had set rates for trusts and estate planning. Is that common to have a set price for a package like that?
Yeah, what a great question, Janelle. And so one of the reasons that I love these living trust presentations are because there is an opportunity to bundle fees, very similar to loan signings that way. And having said that, Laura, do you want to dive into that a little deeper?
Well, I mean, really, I think you said it, is that attorneys like knowing what the cost is going to be at the end. They don't want to have you show up and then start counting notarizations. So if you can create a package deal that includes your notarizations, witnessing, travel, all of that is bundled into one flat price, either for one signer or for 2, it's much easier for them, whether they're passing it on to their client, but they're paying me directly and they're trying to recover those costs, or whether they're just paying it themselves. So I always, when it's a trust presentation, I have a package deal. When it is a signer calling me directly, not an attorney's office, then I tend to ask a little bit more, because those are usually more simplified kinds of trusts that are do-it-yourselfers. There's not as many notarizations, and it's probably better for them if I quote a travel and notarizations.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Great question. If you happen to be in a state where it's difficult to reach the per notarization fee that would make these worthwhile, really look at the bundled services package, because it's very similar to loan signings.
Right.
You know, there's a brief description of the documents, you're gathering signatures that are beyond notarization, and depending on your attorney client, if you're working with attorneys, they might have some special requests for handling their clients as well. Phil Shannon, great to see you.
I just want to keep the California theme going. In fact, back-to-back San Jose, California. I know Janelle's from San Jose as well, but it's always great to be here. Looking forward to Toastmasters, Notary Masters on Thursday, and want to make everyone aware that today, 5 minutes after the end of this great group of TNT, I will be doing a short Zoom presentation where I'll explain to you how you can increase your business, how you can reduce some risk and take care of some really important things that I know I work with a lot of folks here that I see, and it's great to work with so many great people. So I will put the information in the chat. I think probably Bill is doing that as we speak, and I always appreciate him for that, and I always appreciate all of you. You've been such an important part of my life. So thanks so much. Great to see everybody. Take care.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I was going to give you a shout out too, because with Legal Shield in particular, I think I shared a couple of weeks ago that I had this vehicle lien holder that was just not cooperating at all with my new registration in Washington. And I had Legal Shield draft up a letter that got, I mean, it was probably within 15 minutes. This has been going on for almost 10 weeks now, where they haven't done what they were supposed to do. And then the letter came and DMV sent me an email and said, hey, we got what we need. Come on down. The other miracle of that is in a small town, they actually email you and say, hey, come on down from the DMV office. And they walked in and just did it in 15 minutes too. So it was amazing.
Fantastic.
All the way around.
Thanks so much. Always here.
No, thank you,
Always
Phil.
great
I
to hear those
appreciate it.
stories. Thanks.
Yep, you got it. Randy Venter, speaking of Washington, I know you're up here.
Hi, Bill. I have two questions. One is, so I'm in Washington, like you said. Can I make a certified copy of a PDF? Or should I have the person email me the document and then me print it?
What does your law say in your state, Randy, about you controlling the making of the copy versus the signer can do it?
It says the client can make the copy. I just have to verify that it's actually identical.
Okay. Then if you're not required, then you don't have to make the copy. They could just send you the PDF.
Okay, so I just have to compare it to the PDF. I don't
You have
necessarily
to
have
compare it, yes.
document.
And what
Okay.
you're gonna say is, yeah, this is a copy of that.
Okay. All right, I think I was overthinking it.
Okay.
And then my second one is I had an elderly gentleman that just got out of the hospital. And he was coherent, but he didn't have all of his motor skills. And he was trying to sign a power of attorney over to his, I guess, office manager, house manager. And they had tried several times, having him practice earlier in the day. I sat there for about 45 minutes while he tried to sign his name on about 8 different copies of the document. And finally, we tried to go to signature by Mark and have 2 witnesses. Is it okay for his 2 witnesses to be his employees?
Are the documents have anything to do with the employees benefiting in any way?
No.
Well, if they're not going to have any benefit, they're impartial. It's kind of sticky there, because what if they said, no, I don't want to be? I mean, they could be under the control of the employer. So I'm a little worried about that. I think it depends on what the documents were. If they were private documents, I probably wouldn't worry about it. If they're company kinds of documents, I'd have a bigger concern about that.
Okay. And then like my state just says, or my primer says, have one of the witnesses print the person's name under his mark. And then below that, where they signed, I also had them put all of their information, like their name, address, phone number. Is that too much information?
Yeah, it's too much. They just need to have their signatures underneath that printed what the guy's name is.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great questions. Loretta in Maryland, thanks for being here. Want to unmute and tell us how we can help? Hi, Loretta.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure can.
Okay, so there seems to be a lot of issues going on with these signatures, because in Maryland, of course, we're told we have to read the notary instructions, which has in bold print that the signatures must match what is on the document. So that means if the document has their first, middle, and last name, they must sign their first, middle, and last name. Then the issue is, how do we relay this sort of diplomatically to the to the customer, because I get a lot of people who, oh, that's not how I sign my name. You know, I just scribbled a line across there. Well, the lender doesn't know that that's you if you scribble a line across there. And they want to make sure that you are signing the document and that your name is legible, because we get those sent back too. The lender will send back, you know, the loan documents and have them re-sign everything if the signatures aren't legible. How do we relate this to the customer or to the client that this is extremely important, you know, without without poking them and getting, you know, getting the negative feedback?
Yeah, great question. This is one of the big struggles of loan signing agents for sure, right? And I think this will be specific to loan signings as well. Laura, I'd love to hear your perspective first, and I'll just piggyback on what you offer here.
Well, you know, for loan signings, here's how I've addressed it, is that I point to the name as they're named in the document or as it's printed under the signature line. And I say, here's the expectation for your signature. They're asking you to sign this. That way I'm not telling them how to sign it. I'm just relaying the instruction directly from the document. So that's the first thing. And then if they don't do all of that, I say, okay, is this the name you're wanting to submit? Because I just want you to know that if it's not acceptable to the lender, then you're going to have to do this again with me. Now, if they insist that's my signature, that's how I sign, I move along. I don't argue with them. I don't worry about it. I just move along and I send it back, because it's not the place of a notary to argue about that. That's the unauthorized practice of law for us to instruct them on how to sign their name. We can relay directions from somebody else. We can do that.
Okay,
And
because
if they don't want to cooperate, Lorlita, have them stop. Call the lender, call the title, call their contact, let them hash it out. We don't have to be in the middle of that.
Yeah.
okay, because that's initially that's what I was doing. I would say, okay, well, please sign your name exactly as it's printed. That way you don't have to do this again, because they will send it back if it is not the same as it is if it's not the same way that it's printed. Oh, that's not how I sign. So
Well, it might not be how they sign, and you know, we can't control that.
and I just started, you know, just, oh, well, okay, well, we'll see what they have to say and we'll just send it on, and I leave it at that. So most times they do have to sign over again, and you know, all 200 pages, and they're not too happy about that, which is of course not my problem.
Well,
That's
so
why it's important to point it out in the first place. So if that does happen, not on you.
yeah. And Lorlita, like you'll know if there's going to be a problem at the very beginning, right? Like I always check I look at the signature on the ID and I'll ask them, is that how you normally sign? Or I'll compare that to their signature on their settlement statement or whatever it might be, or the journal, and see if it matches up. And then if it's where I don't have problems usually is the scribbles.
Yeah.
Usually a scribble's a scribble. If they tell me that is William David Soroka and it's just a little squiggle, then that is William David Soroka.
Yeah.
And I can't, like Laura was saying, we can't force them to change their signature. So where the challenge comes in is if the expectation is that I sign as William David Soroka and I have a really nice signature, but it's clearly just William Soroka, that's undersigning, and lenders will have a problem with that. They probably will. So, but I just like to just say, this is the expectation that they want. Now, I can't force you to sign that way, but I know if you don't want me to come back, we're going to need to sign the way that they want to. And usually people just say, oh, all right, I'll do it. You know, they just succumb to it and we'll sign that. But if they don't, and there are people who say, no, that's not the way I sign my name. This is the way I sign. That's their absolute right. But those are the exceptions. I will say this, when you said most of my clients have to re-sign, there might be a disconnect in communication, because it rarely happens. It's only every now and then that there'll be a problem if you set proper expectations in the beginning.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you both.
You got it, Lorlita. Great question. Thank you. Henry Felder, great to see you in New York. You want to unmute? Yeah.
Hey,
Hi.
How you doing, Bill, Laura?
Hi, Henry.
Okay.
Good to see ya.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on that topic also because I had a signing a couple of days ago where the person had the first name, middle initial, last name on the documents, but their signature is just first and last name. So I mentioned the middle initial to them. They said, "Well, I don't sign like that." I said, "All right, cool." I looked at the driver's license and I noticed they just signed first and last name. They didn't have the middle initial in there also. So what I did was just uploaded a copy of the driver's license to the signing service just to let them know, that they don't sign with their middle initial.
Yeah.
Is there a
then-
question to that?
No, I just wanted to add that. That's all.
Okay.
Oh, okay. And I mean, that's one passive way to do it, and that's great because so here's the thing, it's a lender decision, right? It's not like there's notary law out there or says it's a notary rule or a across the board rule. It depends on the lender, and sometimes even at the lender, it depends on the underwriter or the processor who's working the file. So sometimes there's no rhyme or reason. So this may be a big deal to some people, and it might not be a big deal to others. Thanks for chiming in, Henry. Did you have a
No
question
problem.
too?
No, that was
Okay.
it, Bill.
All right, awesome. Thanks for being here. Hi, Melissa. Welcome.
Hey, Bill. I guess I'm gonna also contribute to
Oh, Melissa, we
the
can't hear
same
you.
thing. I wanted to kind of make a joke out of like throwing the title company under the bus, but let's not really do that. But I think a lot of times because we are the face that meets with the clients or the signers, that we are essentially the representative of, title, mortgage, escrow, signing service, or what have you. And to a degree, that's true, but we're also independent. But I usually just tell people right off the bat that how your name is printed is how they want you to sign. And that takes the immediate, you're responsible for all of this off of the notary and puts it onto the lender, the title, or what have you. So yeah, kind of along the same thing, but maybe just a different presentation for that.
Yeah, great. Thank you for chiming in, Melissa. I appreciate that. Good perspective. People are usually pretty cool when you set clear expectations from the very beginning. And then that's when you find out if they're ready to go to war and die on this mountain over their signature or not, right? Like some people are and most people aren't. Hey, Patricia in Chicago. It's so good to see you today. How can we help?
Hi, I'm here freezing my cookies off, as you probably heard about our weather. But hello to you, Bill, Matt, and Laura. It's more the same thing that I'm chiming in. I found out when I checked with a title officer, when people are filling out those applications, on the application, it asks their first, middle, and last name. And that's how they print out the documents. So that's what I do with the client. I said, the way that you filled it out, it might not be how you sign every day, but that's how they have your signatory line based upon what you did on the application. So for these documents, please sign your name using your middle initial. And that should make it very smoothly. And when I explain it like that, there's no issue as to how they normally sign versus what's being required, what's being asked of them. And of course, I've already looked at their driver's license. And oftentimes, even when they have the middle initial on their driver's license, they don't sign their signature with the middle initial. So that's just a perspective that I use with clients, and I don't get a pushback. And as long as you can give them the reason why, I think that helps. And I'm done speaking.
Awesome. Thank you, Patricia. That is so true. And I just happened to notice that 3M Mobile Notary mentioned that New York notaries are now required to keep a journal. So if you are a New York notary, I'm sure you've all heard of it. I meant to send an email about that this weekend and I forgot. But yeah, New York notaries are now required, among other things, to maintain a journal.
Yeah.
All right. End of questions? Ready to go home? Or have we sparked some other questions? need some perspective on anything else, use the raise hand feature in Zoom today. Wow, Laura, quiet group today.
I know.
Here's
That's okay.
Francis. There we go. Francis, how's it going?
Good. Hi, everyone. This is for actually both Bill and Laura. So when you've, in the process of establishing a relationship or beginning a relationship with an estate, a law firm or estate plan attorney practice, especially if it's a practice with multiple attorneys, a team, how have you kind of structured the contracting of it? Meaning the firm kind of builds that into their pricing for their clients and they offer it as an option, the mobile estate plan signing service. And then the firm pays you. Well, you could do, they may ask you to, do the scheduling. Once they've assigned you, call the client like we do with loan signings, confirm the date and time or schedule it when it's convenient for both parties. And then the law firm would pay you, or would you do that separately? Have you done both ways? I just would like your thoughts from both of you on that.
Yeah, for sure. I think we both have some good experience with that too. Laura, are you in a position to talk about your clients first?
Sure. And so I have done it both ways, and it's not up to me, it's up to them. So I don't, it's not for me to decide, I guess. It's how the attorney wants to bill their client. I have some attorneys that write me the check directly, and then they've incorporated it into their overall fee to the client. And sometimes they like doing that because what I charge, they add a little extra. The client doesn't know what I actually charged. Other times I'll be asked, hey, they're going to pay you directly at the table. Is that fine with you? And that's fine. So I think either way works. It doesn't impact what I'm going to charge in the first place. It's just how do they like to do that? And I think that's just their preference. And if there's multiple players in the same team, they may make a decision that it's just easier for them to cut checks. Or they may have some of their, some of their partners each decide how they're going to do it.
So if they're paying you, let's say they decide they want you to handle the payment directly with the client, do you still have a contract in place of any kind or agreement with the law firm, or they're just simply making referrals for you, sending business your way?
Well, it's not just about sending business my way. This is their client, and this is the completion of documents they produced.
So do you usually have a contract with that law?
I don't have a written contract, actually. So I guess that's what I'm not getting is I don't have written contracts with attorneys.
Okay.
They're just oral agreements. Hey, here's what I charge. Call me when you have clients, and either you pay me directly or tell me that I need to collect it from the signer. And if I do, I create a receipt directly to the signer.
Okay. And you normally also, do they normally have you contact the client to schedule the date and time?
Some do and some don't. Many of them do the scheduling first and ask if I'm available.
Okay. Okay.
So Francis, I mean, it's almost exactly the same on my end. It just depends on the attorney or the firm and how much they have their practice dialed in.
Right.
And some of them like to control every aspect of everything. Those with like teams, and they have SOPs, and they're the ones with the HR manuals and everything, right? They've got their ducks in a row and their team just follows those rules. And I just fit into that. And rather than a contract, it's more like a letter of understanding, right? We come to an agreed upon price, the services, what the expectations are. And as long as both parties are meeting those expectations, they're going to keep sending business to me.
And do you sign that agreement? Is it that formal or just?
No, not at all. And
No.
it's just a letter of understanding, an email of understanding.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
I have never met an attorney that wants to sign a contract.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny, no?
Exactly. Well, I think they know what's up.
I know. Matt also mentioned in his experience, sometimes they want me to bill them for him bill them after the fact. Send me an invoice or leave me an invoice. And I've done that as well.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you.
Very-
And this is kind of what I thought, but I thought, well, let's ask the pros who have experience. So I really appreciate your different
Lots
perspectives.
of flexibility.
Yeah,
Is what
I
I
like that.
suggest.
I like that.
And you know, with solopreneur attorneys, they tend to appreciate anything you can take off their plate.
Yeah.
You know, if you can handle the scheduling and the communication, once they get to know you a little bit and they know they can trust that you're going to represent them professionally, they start to let go of more and more of the control. Then they're like, okay, can you just take that? Can you call Mr. and Mrs. Smith and set that up? And then the client too. So the demographic of the client attorney seems to have an impact on who pays for my services. So if it's an attorney who's targeting wealthier individuals, they bundle everything. So they'll pay me out of the proceeds. But the attorneys that go for like $1,000 trust or get a trust for $7.99, that's pretty much their fee. So anything that's mobile service, they usually are going to have me charge the client directly. And those are the ones where it's harder to get a higher fee than 125, 150-ish.
Okay.
Through the attorneys, there tend to be, when it's part of their value proposition to their clients, that they don't even have to come into the office, that's where I tend to get a premium fee.
Okay, great. And just out of curiosity, one last piece to that. Did you typically print out the documents, or did you go pick them up from the attorney firm and then bring them back, or did it just depend on who you're working with?
I've never had to print trust documents.
Okay.
Either they've been delivered to the client, delivered to me, or I might swing by an office and pick them up, but that's even
Okay.
not
Okay,
the
great.
usual. Yeah.
Kind of what I thought, but because those can be pretty hefty documents like loan signings.
Yes, they're substantial packages.
Thank you.
Yep, you got it. Great question. I love questions like that. And I love to see
Yeah.
so many notaries shifting, and it's just a slight pivot to that specialty as well. Henry Felder, welcome back.
Yeah, I see. No one had raised their hand, and I had a signing yesterday from a signing service, and no scan was required. But the escrow officer called me later and asked me if I can scan. I said, no problem. After the signing, came back home, scanned the docs, called the escrow officer. Everything was fine. Okay to ship. This morning, she called me probably about 11 o'clock Eastern time, asking me if I had shipped the documents. I said, yes. I uploaded a copy of the UPS receipt on the portal also. And hopefully they get the package today, but I'm kind of glad now that I was able to scan those documents to that escrow officer. And I feel bad if they didn't get it yet, but at least I feel like I did my part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You never know what's going to go on with shipping. And I think if you have the tools and they have the portal to receive, right? Like if you have the tools to scan your documents, I think that's a healthy way to differentiate yourself. If you've got it, if it's that quick and you can do it and there's a secure way to give it to them ahead of time, a lot of escrow officers appreciate that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I tracked the shipping label and it says delayed by weather. And I was like, wow, I'm so happy I was able to scan those docs. I don't know when they're going to get it, but it was from New York to Ohio. So I don't know.
Just over the hill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that, Henry. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Landis, welcome back. Or welcome up. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I've got a lot going on. I do have a question for you. As you know, I'm in a hurricane area that was hit hard. So there's a lot of construction going on. And obviously a lot of those projects require construction permits for roofs, what have you, notice of commencement, whatnot. So I had a contractor reach out to me, and basically he's doing a lot of work throughout our area. And I'm just trying to find out the best way to price it for, I know he's mentioned there's going to be like groups of tens of notarizations that are needed at different times, and travel could range from here in Fort Myers, or if I go up a little bit further to Punta Gorda. So in terms of that, knowing that there's going to be a bulk of notarizations that need to take place that will keep coming, how would you price that? As it like, should it fall under my regular fee schedule, or should I have a special like pricing for the zone? I'm just not sure how to best do it, just, to keep the relationship going and see what can come about.
Yeah, awesome. I love this. This permit running in certain states is going really strong right now. And I know Florida is one of those states. So I think one of the first questions I like to ask anybody like this is, what do you currently pay? So I like to find out what they're used to or comfortable paying. And if they weren't comfortable, they'll tell you, well, this guy's charging me $150 and that's too much. Can you do it for less? Or most of the time I've asked this question, I've been pleasantly surprised, because I'll think in my number in my head and they're already prepared to pay more than that. So that's the first thing I like to do. If it's too late for that, always keeping the big picture in mind. I don't know the current fee structure for permit running. Laura, how about you? Do you?
I don't do that, so I have no idea.
I think it comes down to time.
Mm-hmm.
The permit runners that I've talked to, only a few across the country that I've talked to charge for their time based on an hourly rate, but billed out in 10 to 15-minute increments.
Bill, this isn't necessary. I'm not pulling the permits. These are literally just the notarizations that are needed for the permits. So basically, I've done 2 so far. So he's come to the appointments and I'll meet with the owner and notarize the owner's signature a few times. I think I will have to notarize the roof inspector's signature. So that it's not pulling the permit. So it's straight notarizations at this point.
And then you don't have to take them to a county office or anything like that to actually.
Not as of now. I've heard it's crazy. So not as of now.
So it's just basic, it's your notarization fees then, right?
Yeah. So I just wasn't sure if I should have, because there's going to be a decent amount coming through. I wasn't sure if there should be like a package deal or if it really should be for each individual meeting.
Yeah, Laura, what would you say to that? Like a guaranteed bundle of notarizations?
Yeah, here's the problem sometimes I have with those kinds of situations, that they say, yeah, I'm going to have all this stuff for you, and then they do 1 or 2 and then there's nothing. So it doesn't always come through. So if you're going to offer anything that's discounted, I would put some kind of parameters or boundaries around it, so that if they don't meet that, then it's full price. But
gotcha.
Once you get like maybe the first 5 a regular price, and after that, I discount it. But make sure you get some of the work first, because somehow it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
Right. And this particular one he's an out-of-state contractor, which is interesting. Well, it's overrun with contractors in general who, there's a lot of work here. So just the fact that he's from out of state is a little, it makes me feel a little, I don't know, uneasy. So, but I mean, a notarization is.
He may be just fine. Your question really is about, should I give a discount or bundle it? And what we're saying is, make sure that you've got parameters around that before you just start discounting your services.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
In fact, I don't like to lead with a discount. I started this business doing that, and it always bites me in the rear end. The people with the biggest coupons want the most from you. So I would just quote what you're worth and see how he feels. Like come up with your normal travel, and at least in Florida, you have some flexibility with that. And then just charge the per notarization fee plus such and such travel, and see how the relationship develops. Does he pay on time? Are you going to be fighting for your money? You got to fight for your money, then it's full price all the way if you want to do it at all, right?
Right.
So it's the beginning parts of a relationship, and you're committed to a win-win. It's not oh, I'll lose until I can start winning. It's got to be a win-win. And you learn the most in the beginning of a relationship. You don't want to be 6 months of losing, hoping that this is going to turn into a win. And then there's no loyalty on their part and they're out the door again.
Right.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you very
Awesome.
much.
Good luck. Keep us posted.
Thank you. Will do.
All right. Edie, welcome up in Washington. And you're not on mute, but I can't hear you. Edie, we'll come back to you. Amy Seitz, welcome.
Well, I'm kind of glad you did. I had a question for, I didn't catch the name of the person speaking last.
That was Landis.
Landis. So if she's a Ron, this would be a perfect opportunity because those would be really good documents to get done electronically down there in Florida. And then she wouldn't have to travel and then could offer some type of individualized session kind of discount or something, you know what I mean? But I just wanted to throw that out there. That would be the perfect solution, or at least opportunity to talk about the possibility of online
Appreciate that
notarization.
because it sounds like you and I are kind of on the same lines because I'm like, should this be my introduction to Ron? So I appreciate it.
And I came from the government, so I know that those have been done online, and I've not seen any of those get rejected across the nation. So FYI.
Amy, that's great. And Landis, if you don't know Amy Seitz yet, you'll definitely want to get to know her because she founded and runs Cyberize It, the remote online notarization platform. So maybe you guys can connect in the chat. And if this is your gateway to Ron, Amy's the perfect person to help.
Thank you, Bill. I always forget to introduce myself, but I actually have to run. I have another meeting in 10 minutes, but it's always a pleasure to hang out, you guys, and I'll see you next week, maybe.
All right. Thanks, Amy. See you later.
Bye.
Hello, Carmen's iPhone. Welcome. Would you like to unmute? Tell us what state you're in and how we can help. Carmen.
Yeah, I'm
Oh, there you
challenged
go.
with
Hi.
the unmute. Yeah, hi, I'm Carmen from Maryland. I'm
All right.
challenged with the mute button. But I had a call this morning from someone who wanted to know if I could come out and do a power of attorney. She just needed one document signed. She said maybe two. And she had witnesses. I made sure that they were not related to the principal. And she said, no, they were neighbors. And she asked my fee. So in the state of Maryland, our fee is $6 per stamp and $5 travel fee and mileage, although I don't charge the mileage if it's within a 5-mile radius. So I gave her that. And she said, really? And she was very quiet, and I could tell she was thinking, and I didn't know if she was thinking that was too little, I didn't know what she was thinking. And so she said, well, we have a regular notary who was out ill today. And so I called you because I found your name. But are you sure that's your fee? And I said, yeah, that's my fee. And we made the appointment. I'm scheduled to go. That's fine. Well, about 10 minutes ago, I had to jump off of here because I got a call from a very irate notary who said that she has released him, although he couldn't go that day anyway. And he said that I forget the word he used because he was so irate, but he was saying I was charging too little for power of attorneys. And my understanding was a power of attorney is just still a signature. So my question is, should I be charging more to do a power of attorney? Or don't I just charge what the notarial fees are for the state of Maryland, which is what I was trained to do?
Yeah, great question, Carmen. I'm sorry you went through that, and I'd love to get Laura's perspective on this.
Yeah, you know what? It's the signature line. I can't charge more because it's the power of attorney versus a healthcare directive versus a permission to travel for a minor.
That's what I thought.
They're all documents. The only time I can charge more if the power of attorney is part of a trust and I'm doing an entire trust presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's what I was, but he was so upset, and I guess he's upset because he's a regular notary, and I think he just lost his spot because he was overcharging.
Yeah, overcharging.
And so I just wanted to make sure. And so I thank you so much for answering my question.
You're welcome.
You're so welcome. Thanks for bringing that to us. And sometimes the walk-in integrity can be a lonely one. But it's so important that we do that because you will hear these stories in every single state, especially the ones that are very strict. Like in Arizona, they're a little more on the strict side, and you'll see notaries charging $100 flat mobile fee just off the top, which is so clearly outside this what the statute says, but a lot of notaries do that, and you'll see that in every other state. It's important though that you do your own due diligence, look at your statutes, know what you can do and you can't do. That is part of integrity. All right, Darlene, welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, how are you guys today?
Excellent. Thanks for being here. What state are you in and how can we
I'm
help?
in Nevada.
All right.
And I was on one of the remote online platforms, and a document came across. I don't remember the actual name of the document, but it's somewhere along the lines where a physician or a physician assistant need like a certification. This document, not really a cert. I don't want to confuse it with a copy certification, but it's part of their certification. And on the portion for the notary, it had the notarial language. It was an acknowledgement, but there was a small blurb on there that requires the notary to place their stamp on a portion of the picture. There's a picture of the actual doctor. So a portion of your stamp has to hit on somewhere on that picture and also hit on their signature. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but it's clearly written there. So are you familiar with that? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, good question, Darlene. Laura, have you heard of a document like that?
Yeah, I have. Usually their passport stuff going out when I've heard them doing that. And you know what? It depends on what your state is allowing.
Okay.
We're not allowed to do that. In California, we can't be doing that. We can't take part of our stamp here and part of our stamp there. It has to be logically associated within the certificate and next to my signature somewhere. So we can't do that. It doesn't prevent issuing agencies or receiving agencies from asking. They're going to ask for whatever they want, right?
Oh, okay.
But you have to check what your state law says about the ability for you to do that with your stamp.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, and Nevada is a state where it says you can't stamp on like a printed area.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I
problem.
thought.
Yeah, we can't affix it over printed materials or signatures of any kind.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, it was just kind of weird because I was like, why would they ask you to put your stamp, like, your stamp to be affixed where there's other information?
They're looking for ways to deter fraud, but they can't ask the notary to be doing things to help them when it's illegal for me.
Right. Okay. Okay. Perfect. That is exactly what I wanted to hear. All right. Thank you so much.
You got it. And I like Matt's solution to that too. Matt offered in the chat that he uses the embosser to cover the stamp of the picture and the signature, and then stamps a seal where it's supposed to go.
But there are some states that don't use an embosser at all. They're not allowed to use an embosser.
Okay.
You got to make sure you know what your state laws are.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for bringing it up. All right, I think we have room or time for one more question with Tanzania. Welcome. What state are you in and how can we help?
Hi, good day. Can everyone see me and hear me? Okay.
Yeah, sure can.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you for taking my call. She kind of touched on what I was just about to ask you guys. I had a request for an apostille from Spain, from a lawyer in Spain. And she sent over the power of attorney. It's a substitution of a deed. And asked that I stamp every single page, even though there's no notarial wording on every page. And at the end, her acknowledgement didn't have our notarial wording on it. So I was gonna say, okay, would it be okay if I just stamped that one page where my signature is supposed to be and then emboss the rest of the pages. And she was like, absolutely not. It needs to be stamped every page. And I'm like, that's against the rules. What are your thoughts? Is that the same thing?
Yeah, it's against the, yeah. Oh, same thing. I do a lot of outpost work, so does Matt. And so that's why we use that embosser. And I use that for all the other pages, reserve my ink stamp for my certificate, and that's what they get.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you know what? I've never had a rejection. I've never had a rejection. They've never come back to me.
Okay. Okay. Now with that, the certificate that they provided in the power of attorney doesn't have our box wording for California. Would it be okay if I stamp that?
For California, if you are notarizing a document you know is going out of the country, you must use the California format. You may not use anybody else's acknowledgement. It has to be California verbiage and format.
Okay.
Okay. And I just want to add that if they sign, if I get a signature on every single page and they want every single page notarized, they can sign it and I can do an acknowledgement, and that's 15, 15, 15, 15, 15. If they're going to sign it and they want my official stamp, they're going to have a notarization performed. I will not do anything but an embossment on other pages. Otherwise.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
Great question. And Patricia, I think we still have time for one more. Welcome.
Come on up.
Okay, here I am. I'm coming up. In terms of the last speaker about the apostille, and they cannot request you to give them anything other than what our Secretary of State requires. That's what I had asked. Here, unfortunately, in the state of Illinois, we are not allowed to use an embosser, but they cannot have us to stamp each page or anything. They can sign wherever they want, but I can only notarize where there is language and where I'm supposed to. So I think it's another country. Is it the Philippines? They'll ask you also to emboss each page, but that's not allowed. If it's not from our Secretary of State as a requirement, they can ask, but we don't have to do it.
They can ask anything
And
they
that's all I
want.
have to say. Yes, right.
Doesn't mean we're
You're
gonna do
absolutely
it.
right.
But if
Right.
India is the one that I have, the every page, every page, every page, and I tell them I have to set it up as a complete notarization, that you're going to make some little, like, this is page 1. They made a statement and you signed it. I got a statement, I got a signature. Here's my certificate. That's a journal entry. That's a full notarization. And it's going to cost you a lot of money if you want me to do it that way. But I can't just have them sign the page. They have to have a little statement that goes with the page. You know, it goes with their signature, because they have to commit to something in an acknowledgement. They can't just commit to a nothing. So they changed their mind after that. They decided, okay, we'll do the embosser.
All right, awesome, guys. This was a great conversation. Thank you so much for being here. And I think one thing that's highlighted throughout today's conversation is how important advanced training is, to take it further than what your state minimum requirements have, because there's so much. It is on us to know what we can do and what we can't do. People are going to ask of us all kinds of things, whatever fits what they want done, but we have to know where that boundary is on what we can do and can't do. So keep learning all the time. That's one of the amazing things about this business, is there's always something new to learn. Thank you for being here. Laura, any parting words?
Let's see, it's only Tuesday. Have a great week, guys.
All right, thanks for growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.